There we go. Good evening. This is the meeting of the Utilities Committee on Monday, September 16th, 2024. I'll ask everybody to introduce themselves. I'm Jay Rosapepe, Port Orchard City Council member.
Eric Warden, City Council member, seat 4.
Heidi Fenton, City Council member.
Dennis Ryan, Public Works Director.
Jeff Hagelin, Public Works Operations Utility Manager.
Do we have anything else that we need to add to the agenda right now? It's kind of packed. All right, Heidi, Eric, we're good?
Oh,
Yep,
we're good. My end. Thank you.
All right, Dennis, it's the Dennis show.
Well, so just so everyone knows, this is going to be one of the things that Jeff's going to probably take the lead on going forward in the future. So I'm not going to throw him to the wolves quite yet. So we'll start nice and easy with about 18 topics to talk about tonight. So first up, earlier in the year, we talked about a utility facility tour. We didn't really, conflicts in everyone's schedule kind of prohibited that. There is a great opportunity if one night before a council meeting, if the committee or all the council members were interested in possibly doing a marina pump station tour. So I just want to throw that out there.
I think that'd be good to throw out on the following Tuesday. When we have our next full meeting to judge. I think most of the council would be excited about that.
Okay. I will work with Janine so we can get notification out for that. So that's something that we'll plan on doing, but we'll provide hard hats, Jeff. We might need some extra hard hats, but we'll make it happen. Is there the opportunity to do it earlier in the day, or do we want to keep it at the standard 5 o'clock time?
Oh, I go with a little earlier just because of, is that when we have our, are you saying next Tuesday when we have our city council meeting?
No, it'd be a month from today.
Oh, okay. And what day?
Go ahead.
Is that the, are you still keeping it though on the 8th when we get together?
It'll be the second Tuesday of the month. This was an irregularity.
Right.
Yeah, so it'd be the 8th of October. We have our SAC meeting on the 8th.
What time is the SAC meeting?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Would there be interest doing about maybe like a 4:30 or 4 o'clock?
Oh, wait, didn't we change that to on the first Tuesday of the month for our SAC?
No, we did, but I think we changed it, correct, Jay?
We went back.
We changed it to the 8th because I'm out of town, and it's going to be also the financial meeting.
Okay.
That one might go a little long with going over the budget.
For sure.
Okay, I'll look. I'll put some emails out to the rest of the council. I think they'd all be interested in that. So it might just be staff giving you a tour through the fence, but if that's the case, we don't need hard hats. But there's a lot to see and a lot of interest.
Yeah, I just it's having it at 4 o'clock by 5 o'clock. Then there's time in between the council meeting that's kind of dead time. But let's check with you can ask the council.
Okay. This committee is a 4 o'clock. Did I hear that right? That was preferable
For this committee?
Yes.
What works for you? What works for you, Eric and Heidi?
Yeah, I'm good
flexible.
with that.
Would you prefer 4 o'clock?
Yeah, I'm wide open. So
Okay.
yeah. You
I don't know
schedule
what
it.
time you guys get off work, so I just want to be respectful.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
so
schedule it, I reserve it.
does 4 o'clock work better for you, Dennis, and your team?
Yes, that would
Okay.
work.
Great. So we'll do that when we do our next meeting.
Okay.
I do want to say though, if we're doing our SAC at 3 o'clock and you just said that might go a little bit longer because that's going to pack. We might not have that 4 o'clock meeting.
No, I agree. I think maybe hold the next one at 5 o'clock also.
Well, if we do a tour, that's going to cut into like fast, and then hurry and get to city council. Could we do a tour like the Tuesday before that on the 1st?
Possibly. So this marina will be pretty quick. The marina tour will be pretty quick.
No, I'm not here, and it's not a council meeting night if we're inviting the rest of the council.
Right.
It's good to have them before the council meeting.
I agree.
I just don't want to rush, if we're going to do a tour.
No, that's fine.
Maybe do it on the 15th and a tour. So we're not doing a SAC meeting, a tour, and then a city council meeting.
Yeah, well, especially with the budget. Let's look, why don't you propose October 15th for the tour?
October 15th, 4 p.m. That's our tentative start date. We'll throw out there.
That would be the tour date.
Yeah. And it might just be walking around the fence, but we can provide some visuals of what it's going to look like and what you can expect. I think it's we did it with the bank president, and it was very helpful. And they had no idea what we've been dealing with down there, and it's all flowing together, no pun intended. So, all right, are we ready for the next action item, which are the discussion items for project updates?
Absolutely.
All right, so Marina, I do have some aerial footage I do want to provide at the next council meeting. Over the past few weeks, both the city forces and the contractor have transferred all the flow through the bypass pumping. The 50-plus-year-old wet well has been cleaned. The Seagate overflow has been abandoned. It is no longer poses the option of doing overflow sewage to the Sinclair Inlet, which is a great thing. And a new 36-inch line has been drilled into that existing wet well that will attach a new structure that has been installed. This existing wet well will be extended to match the new grade of the future plaza, so it'll raise up additional 4 feet higher than what the existing condition is. We've talked about the street, but where this side is, it's going to go up 4 feet higher than what it was there. It'll be completely rehabilitated with a brand new sealed coating interior. The substantial underground portion of the project is nearing completion, and the above ground work this next year will continue through the next fall, which we have a target of September of next year. Probably will be October, but things are moving. It was I call it extensive surgery. Jeff's operation crews were out there. It was a coordinated effort. Had to come in at graveyard to get this bypass pumping going. So, we had to go the lowest time where all sewage was flowing in the city to make this bypass. So that's been a success. So, any questions on that one?
Yeah. So right now we're on schedule and on, roughly on budget. Do you see any additional times when we're going to have to do a switch in flow? At any other times, or are we?
I don't want to jinx it, but the risky part of the job historically, when we're doing the underground connections, working with decades of backfill materials, the connection is made. I don't want to say smooth sailing ahead, but my perception is we're going vertical now, and so I think the highest threats are behind us. We are still operating within our maximum allowable budget. There has been some change orders. We budget 15 to 20% contingency for projects like this. We are still operating within the budgeted amount.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Any questions on that? Anybody else? All right, I'm going to move into asset management. We are going live. Entire production site is open for our sewer crew starting October 15th. Operations and system admin are confident the system delivery and accessibility for immediate use. Things are going well. As soon as we're done with sewer, stormwater will go live next. And I believe, Jeff, all the stormwater assets have been programmed as we know them. Is that a fair statement? All right.
Sorry, 4 clicks to get off mute. Yes, Darren's got all that up in GIS. Caden and Darren been working on that. We're on track. Things are moving forward.
All right. So we've done some pilot programs that have occurred to ensure workflow accuracy. We have successful integration with our GIS, and I'll always say our known GIS. As we progress, as we improve, we're going to find stuff that we didn't know that was there. That's the nature of the beast. So we're prepared for that. I said sewer and storm systems completely built out in the program. Water system, approximately 50% built out. So it's going to be very quickly into 2025 that we're going to have all 3 of our utilities built out and ready to go into Cartograph. Continuous improvement in data collection and inventory will be an ongoing and as infrastructure is added and discovered. So that's it for asset management. Anything else on that? Questions? And if I am going too fast, please tell me to stop. But I want to be respectful of our time. Mr. Warden.
Yeah, when you in 2025, do you think you're gonna have all your assets plus your prints, your as-built and all that included as well? Or is that just throughout the years you're gonna be able to try to keep up? maybe 26, 27.
I don't think we're gonna have our prints that quick. We don't necessarily have prints for everything that we have in the ground. It's a very old city.
Sure, sure.
Jeff, have we even started adding prints as built?
No, not yet. There was a pretty heavy lift last year to actually get things organized here at the shop. We've got a library upstairs. We had some great help with some interns there. We got a good start on it, but we haven't started digitizing yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think from my experience, that could be a pretty cool summer help job, you know. So maybe we could try and sneak one of those people in there, you know. So just my
Absolutely.
2 cents.
We did have the interns working on our, I mean, stuff was a mess in the last few years, long before I got here. I don't know if everybody's met Melinda, Lori. There has been a big lift organizing our plan sets and just finding out what we have there. And our GIS team have been using that data to get our GIS mapping. So yes,
Yeah.
interns are wonderful assets.
They're wonderful. Yeah.
Yes. And rest assured, we are talking to our partners at the county and Bremerton, and as we need it, Gig Harbor. Again, we went with Cartograph because everybody around us has that program. So that's a huge resource in economies of scale for us. So, any other questions on that one? All right, I'm going to keep going faster. So we've got our Bay Street Lift Station project. Staff is currently reviewing consultant qualifications. We have interviews tomorrow for the lift station feasibility and future system expansion and configuration. Depending on the outcome of the feasibilities, the city may proceed with a preliminary project design. And so if you don't know where this one's at, you wouldn't know by looking. It is in the parking lot of the Ford dealership. Basically, it's just a vault. Is it a hatched vault, Jeff, or is it a manhole?
There is a hatch there, small manhole over a wet well. You'll drive right by it and not even notice it. It's just a small railing up above ground.
This is another one that's in the close proximity of the shoreline. There's still a sea gate on this one too. Am I correct, Jeff?
Possibly.
Possibly. These are the things that we need to repair and replace and modify so we don't pose the risk of having sewer overflows into Sinclair Inlet, which was standard practice a few decades ago. So questions on that one? We are looking at a opposite side of the street. So more to come on that. This is just the feasibility study. So you'll see that at an upcoming council meeting for award.
So Dennis, this is an out year project. We're not even into design yet. We're just basically starting the project.
Yep.
As
So
we used to say, this is when Moby Dick was a minnow.
yes, that's true. And just backing up with the marina, you know, the stuff we're finding out there that's 50 years ago, 40 years ago. Jeff's crew just did a air relief repair or retrofit. Jeff, what's the proper term?
Air release valve on the force main. It was part of this project. You're talking about the one at the marina project. Yeah, that was another night project that we came into to replace an air valve that we had another one out there that wasn't even mapped that we came across. These things have been inoperable. It's been causing more wear on our pumps. So we're making a lot of improvements out there.
We're getting on the right side of the curve, so we're not facing those catastrophic failures. So it's good news and it's exciting. So all right, moving right along, the Foster pilot program. So here's the update today. We had a meeting today. We are reviewing our draft mitigation plan is nearing completion. Document includes mitigation plan for several water bodies, specific regulations and estimated impairment rates for each water body based on proposed water rights. So that's augmentation, how much water is needed to pump into identified streams and creeks. Mitigation actions such as replacement water through stream augmentation stations, trust water right donations, and exempt well retirements were considered for this. Selected and non-selected alternatives were discussed for each water body with timelines for implementation. We will have 3 tiers, and we are going to do probably an executive session to go over all this in the very near future, just to see what our options are. So of the 3 tiers of in-kind mitigation options that were explored for certain water bodies, next step in the process is to finalize the draft and start initial discussions with our local tribes. So that's the Squaxin and the Suquamish, sorry. Everywhere I work and live, it's a different tribal group, so I lose track. Sorry about that.
Dennis,
yep.
we're waiting to hear back from the Squaxin tribe. Have we heard back from them yet?
It's the other one. We've heard back from the Squaxin. We haven't heard
We're
back.
waiting to hear back from Sammamish, but we have not heard back from them yet.
Correct. There's been some preliminary conversations, so they know it's coming. But this is something when we're talking about the augmentation, proper possible real estate acquisitions. This is we have a specialist legal representative that's working with our foster team. That's outside of Charlie's firm. It's a totally different firm. So this will be a conversation. So all the council members are familiar with the foster pilot program. And I don't know if Councilmember Warden and Fenton, have you been familiar with this at all? So it's every drop of water that's taken out of the ground, the tribes want us to put it back. This has to do with the salmon recovery, how they migrate, how they spawn. And so it's an environmental remediation. And so the city is growing. We're going to continue to grow. And to enable that we have the water rights for future generations, we are part of a pilot program. It's part of the Foster decision that went through the state Supreme Court. And I will get some additional background information before we bring this to executive sessions. I reviewed it with our team today. I have a hard time understanding it. So there's a lot of things to know, like when we start talking about these creeks and streams, some of them are outside of a jurisdiction. So we want to put that so people are familiar with it. Everything's in feet per acre. We're going to transfer that to gallons. How many gallons does that equate to? Because I'm not an engineer. I'm not going to understand all that. A little bit, enough to be dangerous, but we want to make it easily read and understood. So any other questions on that?
Is it fair to say, Dennis, that this is not going to be resolved anytime soon?
I'm confident that we're going to be very soon into that conversation with the tribes and ecology. It's going to be a negotiation, but I would say in the next few months that process will start.
Okay.
All right. So moving on to, tell me if I'm going too fast, please.
Keep rolling.
Ruby Creek.
Ruby Creek pump stations. I'm finding it in my notes. So we have the draft scope and fee was sent to the city for review on August 30th. Updated version sent to the city on 9/3. We are currently reviewing the proposals, so that will take us to 100% design. So just a quick update on that. That is the Ruby Creek pump station that is part of the transit development site. Any questions on that one?
So we're going to 100% design right now?
That's what this next contract will be for, and that will be in front of city council.
Yeah.
Next topic is well 11. I'm happy to say I have not driven it yet, but I believe St. Andrews is paved. Is that
It is.
How is the rideability?
It's awesome. I rode it today on a bike.
Okay, so we've got that paved. The casing and pump will be set, and I believe I heard today that the pump was already installed. Jeff, is that right?
Yeah, they were installing the pump today.
All right. And next steps, if it hasn't already happened, is the stormwater swell is under construction and that the building is nearing completion. So I'm hearing that that could be ready as soon as January to fire up.
So my understanding is we'll be able to draw from the well, but not at capacity until we have the Foster pilot project approved.
That is my understanding as well. There's some additional discussion. My understanding right now is that we have the ability to pull, I believe, 715 gallons per minute. And that's what I know.
Okay, thanks.
So, and then the total capacity is double that when it's once we have our rights. All right. And then on to well 7. Well 7 is right outside of City Hall. That is in the parking lot outside of the police department doors. Design work to advertise upon final acceptance of loan terms. So we have a loan with the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. And so that will relocate the clarifying basement. The clarifying basin. The current basin is below I don't want to say scheduled, but the anticipated sea level rise. So it's going to take it a bit upland. And I believe that's going to be just off of Port Orchard Boulevard in that area where we own a few houses that will be demoed as part of that roundabout project. But that design continues. So not much to report on that, but that is my understanding is well 7. We've got some sand issues currently. We pull a lot of sand in that. It's problems mechanically. Jeff, I think that building is one of the oldest ones we have in the state or in the city for sure.
I believe it's a historical site. It is for Port Orchard anyhow. It once housed the Port Orchard Water Department. So
yeah.
Also our
So that is just a water quality project for the near future because we don't want our basin to be below the salinity if the sea level rises. So moving on to Melcher Pump Station. We were currently advertising for construction. We're anticipating that that's going to be out fall of 2024. The generator, I believe, was ordered last week, so we can get that with the lead time that we're facing with those generators. So we have it when we're ready to fire that up. So that is all flowing.
And that was the one that we approved last week during the city council member meeting, if I remember correctly.
That's correct. All right. Water sound utility, I'm sorry, waste, going too fast for myself.
Yep.
Water system plan. So final water system plan update was submitted to the city. We are on hold until we get final review back from the Department of Health. So that project is ongoing. And then
Could you give us a little background on that one? That one hasn't touched base in a while.
We are working continually. Currently we're having a conversation with McCormick areas. We're evaluating fire flow to make sure that we have it right. We've been in several meetings in the last few weeks with Consor, our engineering department, and even our development department. So we are properly identifying where our needs are going to be. That's been something that's been in the works for I would say probably 2 years. It predated my time here.
Okay, so for Eric and for Heidi, and this was, I was bringing it up, the fire flow issue was why we ended up having a moratorium on building several years ago. And also it led to the construction of the 2 water towers that are out past on Old Clifton, past Christ the Rock Church out there. So that's why I was wondering about whether we were, what that was constituting, Dennis. Is this something that's a question mark, or no, it's just kind of more of an update?
It's just an update. We want to get it right. Every action has a reaction or an implication. If we don't have our water system plan right, we're not going to have what we're requesting through the Foster decision right. So
Okay.
we want that all to be consistent. Totally unrelated, but we're also doing our general sewer plan, who is also through Consort. We're finding that I'm finding great benefit by including our community development department, Nick Bond, our city engineer. We don't want to be siloed, and finance has a big part of this too, because these water plans and these sewer plans, they're going to contain the basis of what we're going to set our citizens' rates for and our CFCs. So we need to identify what all the updates we need to do. If it's interties, which we're going to talk about later, we need to identify that in these plans so we can set our billing, and so we can set our capital facility charges for our developers. So that good? All right. So just flowing right along my utility humor. General sewer plan. We're working on our finance chapter. We have a different consultant that's working on our billing rates for the sewer plan. We met last week. We are making sure we are identifying all of our sewer improvement projects for the next 20-year outlook. That doesn't mean we have to build them, but if they're not in our comprehensive plan, it makes us ineligible for funding all opportunities. So there might be a lot of projects. Doesn't always mean that we're going to build the stuff that you see in these plans, but it's really important to identify them so we can pursue funding opportunities like grants and loans. So,
To back up the bus for a second, I would assume that, Nick had said at one of our meetings, and correct me if I'm wrong, Eric or Heidi, that right now we're exceeding the projections, that we're exceeding our population targets on moving in. So I assume that we're feeding to our consultants or our plans the additional folks that we see coming into the city, and possible impact on both sewer and water, both consumption and funding.
I don't know about the water side. I haven't necessarily heard that. I've heard concerns from West Sound about sewer capacity. I've also heard that our build out population is much greater. There's one of the things that we're going to go after in the next couple years and budgets is to go after our infiltration and inflow. You'll hear that word I&I, the abbreviation I&I. We're a maritime city. We have old infrastructure, and we are going to go after opportunities that groundwater, rainwater is entering into our sewer collection system and going to the treatment plant. That's money that we're paying for that treatment. So we want to reduce that greatly. We see flows during heavy rain events to the treatment plant. They're almost double, and that's standard in the Northwest.
What's our alternative? I mean, Eric, you've this is one of the reasons you have stormwater on your on a list.
So you actually you would seal the manholes. There's slip line, there's machines that go inside, and so when you TV your lines, you get your exact footages, and then you there's a machine that goes inside and it seals up the pipe. But as far as the manhole goes, a lot of them are made out of brick and whatnot, and you can go through, and it's a gel, it's a machine that pumps the gel through it and it seals them up. And so there's a process that to process the sewer in-house can do it. So our local neighbors, they do it in-house. They don't sub that work out. So yeah.
Yeah, that I appreciate hearing that. But there's also something called smoke testing that I've submitted to the budget. It's not real smoke. It's vegetable oil or marine oil.
No, I know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll go around our manholes, and we're gonna find people's downspouts that are going into sewer.
Yeah, a lot of secondaries are still connected. Yeah.
And so we'll go after those too. So there's gonna be a big education push, and I think that's just what we found in Marina. I mean, I think we figured we reduced about 8,000 gallons a day in I&I from our old wet well.
Okay.
So, did I answer the question?
Yes. Thank you.
All right. This is fun to talk about all the great stuff we got going on here. All right. Radio read meters. Jeff's crew gets all the credit. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick, I'm sorry. It's mineral oil.
Mineral oil.
Mineral oil. That's what it is. Yeah. I go ahead. Sorry.
It's like the old train model set.
It's mineral oil. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fan that sits over the manhole, and you feed the mineral oil through it, and it goes throughout the system. Yeah.
Nothing toxic.
Yeah, vegetable oil is not good. So, yeah, okay. Thanks for that clarification.
Yeah.
All right, so radio read meters, Jeff's crew has been busy all this year. We're nearing, I believe, 60%, Jeff, for the conversions for radio meters. Our next city council meeting, you're gonna see 1,400 additional radios that are gonna be ordered. That is gonna get us through completion. A bunch of new pumps. It's probably gonna be one business item. Jeff, how many more, I'm not pumps, but meters, about?
I want to say we're about 170 meters, 178, something like that. These are our larger meters, 1 inch to 4 inch meters. So it's not just the residentials. These are meters that are still on a manual read. So we need to switch out the entire meter so we can get them updated and get them on this AMI program.
Yep.
We've already gone live for the ones we've installed, correct?
We're currently able to drive around and pick them up on a radio receiver that's in our trucks that our guys carry on them. But Dennis, if you want to talk more about the antenna, but we're not quite there.
So this purchasing resolution, it's probably gonna get for $400,000. This is getting us to the finish line, except the labor to install the receiver and the antenna. The antennas are only 10 foot tall off of our towers, really minor. So the contractor, we'll go out either through an interlocal or a small works contract, and they're just going to come wire it off of our reservoirs. And that's going to be the last remaining piece. So this is going to get us all the materials and the ability to remotely collect what we feel at least 95% of the city. We might have 100% coverage. The test, I can't remember what they called it. They did a test of what our likelihood for reception is through the city. It was showing 90 to 95%. We could end up with 100%. They had a third tower option. We're going to go with the 2-tower option now to see if we do have a deficiency. So we might be okay. We might need to add a third location down the road. But nevertheless, Jeff, just the McCormick area, just driving around collecting meters, you're able to do it in what, 2 days? And before, when it was a manual read, what was the timeline?
We're pushing 4.
So we've cut it in half, and then pretty soon it's just going to be instantaneous. So how many days were we doing total meter reads for the whole entire city before radio?
Well, it splits. One month
Every other month.
every other month. So the other month we do the downtown Port Orchard proper, back and forth. So and it's about 3.5 to 4 days each run. Then rereads if we get a bad read on a meter. Sometimes registers die. So this is going to clean the process up a whole lot for us.
And this was 2 people when we're out reading meters, right?
Yeah, it's split between 2 people.
So
that we cover both.
about 16 labor days a year we're going to save, that's huge for operations.
A month.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to know, if you get to, what's the delta on, what's the cost delta on labor at 95% to 100% vice getting the other antenna?
It would be, I mean, it's so hard to quantify it. It would be as simple as just driving into a neighborhood and gathering that with a remote device. Our trucks can be that antenna.
Okay, so we still put the meters in and they're still receiving, it's just driving through with the truck to pick up that info.
I mean, I've heard stories, so they can be on one corner and pick up 100 meters just like that.
Okay.
So if we have a dark spot, it's just as simple as just driving out there. It's not getting out, looking at them individually.
Okay.
So.
And the accuracy's been pretty good. Yeah.
For picking them up in the reads, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this will also give us the ability to remotely shut off and turn on the meters, right? When we have
So
somebody doesn't pay their bill, we still have to post by law.
yes, on certain meters. So the iPearls that we're installing currently, they don't all come with that function. We are going to purchase some of the meters that do have that function where we can remote access them to turn water on and off, because we do have some frequent flyers where we're doing shutoffs. So those instances we'll turn those meters, we'll install those meters, but they do have a little bit higher price tag.
So And then also, I think through our financial software, people can get real-time data on their water consumption. That's another benefit of it, which is great. So, all right, enough for meters?
Yep. That was the project updates. I have one project update question, and Heidi and Eric, you may have another before we get to the next two items. What is the projected timeline on solar panels for City Hall? From a
They're
utility
building the
standpoint?
structure. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So they are going to that phase now. I believe the still kit has been delivered. We've got the bypass generator set up outside of well 7 on City Hall.
Right.
I don't know when the actual panels are going to be in. I don't know if that's going to be awaiting till they get the new generator in and that old generator goes out.
Mhm.
So I believe that has to happen first, but I'm not 100% certain. They've been grinding outside my office all day though, cutting metal. So that superstructure should start going up here fairly quickly.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions before projects?
Well, this was just painting. Is the city hall going to be painted or it's done? Are those panels-
There's 2 sides left after today. So yes, the panels are done. You see those gaps in the panel.
Mhm.
That is designed by the architect to be that way. There is about this much of insulation in there. It is a material that is designed to let water drain out of it and for airflow to go into it. That was part of the energy saving design.
Was it? Okay. Yeah, I think it kind of looks unfinished.
Yes, we talked about that a few months back, I think in the mayor's report. It is how it was designed. It's growing on me. They've got all their staggers on the sheeting, so they're offset and they're all consistent. So I haven't seen it with that type of siding before. I've usually seen it in like perfectly square types. So, but yes, that is the final design.
Yeah.
It's interesting in the home construction, a little bit of a tangent. We've gone from hardy plank where you used to seal up with caulking at the seams. You're not doing that anymore. You're leaving it, you're leaving a gap with a membrane behind it to for water. So it's changing. So I get it. So you're right, Heidi. How it looks but the functionality is changing.
That's exactly what I told my wife when I was 28 feet up on a ladder painting our hardy plank yesterday. That
There you go.
it's supposed to not be patched.
Mhm.
So, all right. The last discussion topic before we get into the discussion on stormwater, West Sound Utility. We've had some preliminary conversations with our partners at West Sound, and as a courtesy, we wanted to bring it to this committee first, and they are going to do the same. I don't know if this came up at SAC. We are going to start exploring the possibilities of developing interties with West Sound. There is a current intertie, but not being used. It would require a pump station upgrade, I believe. Years ago, this is out by Fred Myers, I believe. Jeff, I don't know if you're familiar with that one. So there was facilities never constructed. So years ago they made the intertie, but they never developed a second reservoir, I believe, that was needed. So we want to start that conversation. West Sound is also working on interties with Manchester and I believe another agency. This is all about water flow, delivering services to our citizens, our customers, and preparing us for what comes from the Foster Water decision. It's a problem. It's not a problem. It's a hurdle we're all going to have to face. So just a courtesy to this committee, and wanted to see if that was something that supported to have that initial conversation.
I'm all for having conversations until it comes down to not push comes to shove until there's a document on the table to look at. I think it's a great move. I mean, we have interties with Bremerton, right now, and I think you're absolutely right with the Foster pilot out there. It's going to take all of us working together to make sure we have enough for our citizens.
Yep. No, and in another topic, I'm from a community that's struggling with the PFAS that they're finding, the forever chemicals. We haven't had any hits yet when we're testing. That doesn't mean that we won't ever have hits. And when you have these interties and you have to take wells offline in your community, it's an opportunity to continue to supply potable drinking water. So
Eric and Heidi, did this come up at the SAC the other day?
No.
Not the PFAS, no, and I definitely would like to learn a lot more about this.
And I don't think this would come up at SAC because we're only talking sewer and in the score, if not the water utility section of West Sound.
Mhm.
So my question also was, speaking of SAC, did they come up with talking about ERUs since they're talking about budget?
Yes.
Have you heard anything about that, Dennis?
About what?
The ERUs in this coming budget year? That's always been a fun topic.
I was not at that committee meeting, but I'm not sure. ERU?
No, I didn't know if that had come to you
No,
separately. Sometimes it comes over.
what is the ERU?
So it's the connections, number of connections that they fund, that
Really?
we pay for with SAC
Okay.
to
I
West
haven't
Sound.
seen anything about that.
Till they measure water.
I think it's the equivalent
Okay.
residential unit. It's each charge per house or per
Right.
apartment in the compartment complex. So it's how
Sorry.
we decide what our billing is.
I'm
And
sorry.
I think they guesstimate like 168 gallons a day or something like that per home. That's the number they have roughly or something. Yeah.
I lost track. ERUs, yes. ISU storm. Sorry.
It's okay.
Come on, Dennis, catch up.
I'm sorry. No, I have not heard anything yet about that.
Okay. Yeah, that should be showing up sometime.
All right.
I have a question based off of what you asked, that lift station. Because isn't there talk of annexing down Bethel down there past Fred Meyer? I'm pretty sure in the growth.
There's talk about annexing, but not anytime soon. There's nothing's going to happen until after the comprehensive plans have been adopted.
No, for sure.
So
Yeah.
it's way down the line.
Okay. I thought that might having that conversation would probably benefit us if that is the route that we choose to go down the line.
Definitely
right.
worth keeping on the radar.
Definitely ERUs. Before we tee off this, I was going to tee off this stormwater topic, and we're fortunate to have Councilmember Warden here who works in stormwater, so I know he's passionate for it. I know Jeff is. I know I am as an operations background. So just a little background so everybody's up to speed. Just recently on July 1st, 2024, the new Western Washington Phase 2 municipal stormwater permit was issued. The effective date is August 1st, 2024 to July 31st, 2029. We are going to have a lot of things. Staff has been busy thoroughly reviewing the document, identifying areas where increased service levels are needed, in addition to the requirements needed to improve the entire system's effectiveness to eliminate pollutants. Some of these requirements are going to happen quick. Some of them are going to be phased over a few years. One thing that I think the three of us who've worked in stormwater in the past, we know when these requirements start, they're only going to get more stringent as years go by and new permits get issued. So it's the old be prepared motto. So I did also want to share some of the city identified projects for improving stormwater that we've identified in our stormwater comp plan. It's also going to be in our comprehensive plan for the whole entire city. So just 5 of these right now that are listed on here is the Sydney Regional Park, Stormwater Park. That's also going to have some mitigation credits that we're going to get for Foster. So that's an important one. That's probably the top priority right now with the city. We have the Sydney Road Fish Passage Culvert, the Sedgwick Balancing Culvert. The 4th one is the Annapolis Creek Culvert Replacement. I don't know if anybody's ever walked the banks of Annapolis Creek.
Yep.
That's down in between Mitchell Point and the Transit Center near Whiskey Gulch. That is an old box framed, I don't even know if you call it a wooden culvert or a wooden bridge, but That's something that we've identified on our list for several years. It's going to have a lot of mitigation value too, because there could be some great opportunities for shoreline restoration. And then the downtown stormwater study and the retrofit, and that is going through identifying one of the requirements on the new permit is that we need to identify all of our outfalls in the downtown, public and private. Is that correct, Jeff? So we're going to be looking for the opportunities. We're going to do probably a preliminary study to identify the ones that we want to conduct a stormwater retrofit where we can improve stormwater quality and do some treatment. So I'm going to turn it up over there, Councilmember Warden. I know you had a lot to say on this, so I'm going to stop talking because I'm losing my voice.
No, I'm just glad to hear it, and pretty sure you have to GPS all your outlets. They'll have to be GPSed and whatnot. But no, I'm really glad to hear it, especially the downtown part. That's the amount of pavement that we have down there. I'm glad that we're gonna get some consultants out there to find some areas that we could probably use some water quality. So that's it.
I'm really proud of our stormwater folks. We've got the asset management going, and I made this decision. I didn't ask too many people, but I decided that we had to do sewer. We were only getting our asset management program for sewer. That's what drove the city to grab the asset management. Made the sales pitch that it was just a little bit more to get all of our utilities, and we prioritized stormwater as the next big one. So get rid of the gross stuff, source, and then our stormwater water quality improvement. So next is our drinking water. So it's
And you
exciting
stated
stuff.
that we might consider some filteras, correct?
We are, and I've asked our design team to keep those in mind whenever we have a retrofit.
Yeah.
Any capital project. Givens Park, I don't believe there's any catch basins going in as far as that project. Those are always good opportunities as we see projects like in frontage improvement.
Yeah, pottery would have been really nice, but that's after the fact now. So but awesome. Glad to hear it. Thank you, Dennis.
Jeff, is there any, I did want to give Jeff another credit. I think for the first time in the history of the city of Port Orchard, maybe not, but I believe we completed all of our catch basins, just about to complete all of our catch basins in-house.
Yep, we just have a couple more intersections to hit, need a little extra flagging, but yeah, we will definitely have it all done in-house this year, where historically we've been contracting that out.
So,
Anything else for the good of the order? We went through the agenda, Heidi.
Oh, yeah. Could you just elaborate a little bit more, Dennis? Because you're talking about our drinking water and how important our drinking water is. And from my understanding, I thought it was fine. I didn't know we had a problem with our drinking water.
No, I'm sorry, I misspoke. I was talking about all the gross stuff that goes into Sinclair Inlet. So sewage being the grossest, untreated stormwater, the second grossest. Depending on who you ask, some people say untreated stormwater could even be more a health hazard than sewage. So that's what I was talking about. Our drinking water is safe. Asset management, when we talk about asset management, that is exercising our fire hydrants when we need to be, doing the maintenance on our meters, our pumps, making sure things are tested on the appropriate scale. There's going to be a big emphasis on workflow. When we do all of asset management, that is maximizing all of our city assets. So right now, just utilities for the longest amount of time at the lowest price possible.
Mhm.
So we want that taxpayer dollar and ratepayer dollar to be as low as possible. We want to take care of things. City Hall is a great example. We want to be doing our windows on a 20-year cycle. We want to do our roof on a 40-year cycle. Or if it's only a 20-year roof, we want to do it on a 20-year cycle. But we want to do things when they are scheduled because it's going to be cheaper than it is in the long run. So it's that in asset management, it's the key word is pay me now or pay me later.
Mhm.
So Dennis, when I look at our page, I know we publish it. and that is our drinking water testing. So would you be able to tell us where to go in a polite way about where we would find that?
The testing as far as the water quality samples?
Yes, water quality.
We only publish those once a year for our annual report, Jeff. Is that June? So that's just in our annual report. Jeff has regular tests, right? But we don't publish those.
Yeah.
I thought we did.
Not that I'm aware of. We do, I mean, we're testing weekly, we're taking samples for
Right.
our water, but I don't believe they're being published.
Okay, I didn't know if we put them on our website or not.
Might be a good idea to have them published.
It would be a lot.
Oh.
It would be a lot. And there are things when you test for water that could raise an alarm that aren't worthy of raising an alarm. We do the annual water report is based off of like several tests. I think it's the average. Jeff, I wish Scott was here. Scott is a water
He's
operator.
listening to us right now, but for some reason it won't let him in.
That's right.
So.
He's the one that would be able to answer that best, but it's a statistical average of our testing.
All right.
Yeah. So it can go
Fine.
up and down, and then there's an average at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, every time times of the year can affect water quality reporting.
Scott just texted me July is when we send out our CCRs.
And he's watching probably. He's probably not on the panel list. That's okay.
He
If he chimes up, he can tell us what the average is, if it's a year average or if it's a month average that they come out with the testing.
Mhm.
Okay, so in our page, on our Port Orchard page, we have, let me back up the bus here. We actually have a place that's listed how to, answers, how do I know the mineral or chemical content of my water? And it says city does all the required testing of its water supply, shares this information, the annual consumer confidence report. That's what you're talking about, the annual
Yep.
report. Files are in PDF format and require Adobe Reader. When I clicked on City of Port Orchard, it said, sorry, the pages does not exist. Same for McCormick Woods. So if nothing else, I'd like to see if we could get those that work with Brandy and Janine and see if we can get those reports, the annual reports up.
That needs to be up, and that is probably an issue with the server.
Well, no, I know that they've been doing
Some
stuff, but
remodeling.
that would help.
Yep.
Anyway,
We'll,
okay.
That needs to be posted. We do have hard copies in our office at our public works counter. So if anybody's listening, we can email you a water confidence report anytime.
Okay.
And if Scott was here, he'd probably have all the things memorized.
Nah,
No, I'm kidding.
just let them know so we can get that up.
Yep.
Okay, anything else for the good of the order? A lot of information today for everybody. Some of it will tie in with the financials when they start talking rates and impact fees. We'll be hearing more about that. Heidi and Eric, otherwise our next meeting is October 8th at 5 o'clock is what I heard.
Yes.
Okay. That
Sounds
gives
great.
us
Thanks so much.
Okay,
Thank you for rescheduling. We'll be back to our, we'll have our, did I hear that right? We'll do the next meeting on the 8th and then a tour possibly on the 15th.
yes,
Okay,
try for that. Yep.
wonderful. Thank
Okay.
you, everyone.
Take
All
care.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, oh, Dennis,
Yes. Should I stop recording?
yeah.
Yes, please stop
All right.
recording.
Let me figure this out. And I'm stopped.